broadcasting system, and right here hit stop stream.
So hit end stream and then go to here and hit stop stream.
Yeah. Yep. Other than that, good. Go. You're
Okay,
on.
come on. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, family.
Come forward so y'all
All right.
can get this lesson.
Can y'all come forward, please?
See what-
Can all the children come forward, please?
what you put on there.
Watch your foot up there, Daquan. You gotta watch it because you won't hit the
Cooper, you come with.
How's everybody week been going? Good, good. How's school? Good. What you learning? What you learning in school? Say that again. Oh, okay, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. What about you? Dividing. Oh, you doing some math. That's good. That's real good. That's nice. Okay, what about you? Oh, okay. Geometry. Yeah. Serious. What grade you in? Eighth. Yeah. I was learning geometry in that grade too. What about you? What's that again? French? Oh yeah. I took French in high school. I was a beginner level student. I don't know no French no more. So I took it in high school. I left it in high school. Real quick, because I don't really get a chance to interact with you all. So I want to go around and get y'all names. I'm going to be asking y'all names when I call on y'all, just so I can learn who you are. So starting with you. What's your name? Ezel? What's that? Ezel? Azel. 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 Okay. Azel. Azel. Your name is Brandon. BJ, right? BJ. Shiloh. What's your name? I never got your name. Huh? Anna? Anna. Anna. All right. What is your name? Ariala. Ariala. Ariana. I'm sorry. I'm gonna mess up some, so be patient with me. All right. What's your? Huh? Terriana. All right. Nice name. What? Alia. Alia. Terriana. Ariana. Ezel. BJ. Shiloh. And Anna, right? All right. I'm going to get better, so be patient with me. What's your name? What? Eden. What's her name? Eden. Okay. Eden. Okay. And what is your name? Yana. Okay. And you, Daquan. All right. So today we're gonna talk about courage today. Any of us know what courage is? Yes. Yes. Right on the money. Right on the money. Right on the money. So having confidence, the ability to do something even if it frightens you. All right? We're going to talk about courage today. But it's different. There's different layers to courage. All right? There's different layers to courage. So, that's true. Now, can you give me any examples of having courage? Before we... No? No? Anybody got any examples? Nothing? Okay. No sweat. No sweat. We'll bring some. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, I've been there because I'm not really a roller coaster guy, but every time I go to Cedar Point, it looks so fun, and then I'm hanging with guys that love to get on the roller coaster, so they'll drag me on there, But yes, that's a example. We'll pull some out of the Bible as we go forward. So, we're going to talk about two aspects. There's different layers to courage, like I said earlier. We got physical courage. Today, what we're going to talk about, though, is physical courage and moral courage. Okay? Physical courage and moral courage. All right? So physical courage is when a person risks injury or pain to how do I describe this to where it's not too wordy? He goes into like let me give you an example. So Floyd Mayweather would be showing courage by getting into the ring to box. All right, even though that's just a sport, but he shows courage to get in there and box, and through his preparation, he's getting ready for his opponent. He gets into the ring on fight night, and he goes into a usually he winning, and he have a fight. So being brave is what courage is. And so when you get into we're gonna go into the example of King David. All right. As a matter of fact, go to 1 Samuel 17 and 1, please. Oh, you need help? Oh, okay. Anybody else need help? 17 and verse 1. Let me turn you around. Here you go. 1 Samuel 17 and 1. You got it, Daquan?
I got it. Got it.
Yeah, got it? Okay. Y'all got it? Okay. Okay. 1 Samuel 17. Let me get there myself. All right. 1 Samuel 17 and verse 1. We're gonna read through this chapter, and we're gonna see how David displayed courage. All right, even when the rest of the children of Israel, many of them men who were older than him, because David at this time was a young man. Okay, so 1 Samuel 17 and verse 1. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shekoh, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shekoh and Azekah in Ephes Dammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. All right, so there was a valley between them. So Philistines was on one mountain, Israel was on another mountain, and there was land under those mountains at plain level between them, right? And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. So here you got Goliath, who's a champion. He's built for war. Oh, go ahead.
I know this. They all gonna get scared of my voice.
Yep, exactly. But we're going to read it for those that don't know. But that's good. That's good that you know it. Yep. Verse 4. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head. And he was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. So he have his war attire on. And Goliath is built for war, right? And it was going to show how all the men are scared of him. Watch this. And verse 7, and the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, why are ye come out to set your battle in array? And not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. So he's calling Israel out to come down and engage in a battle with him. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us. And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. So now they are showing lack of courage because of their fear. And that's the opposite of courage, is fear. But the Lord did not give us the spirit of fear, right? Verse 12. Now David was the son of the Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons. And the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab the firstborn, and next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. Verse 15. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. So he presented himself 40 days, taunting the children of Israel. All right? And they showed fear those 40 days. And Jesse said unto David, his son, take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning, and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. They lacking in courage. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. All right, so Saul is offering a reward for the one man that decides to show courage and kill Goliath. Yes.
It waited 40, the children of Israel waited 40 years to fight.
Not 40 years, 40 days. He came and approached the garrison of the children of Israel 40 days. So he, they, like I said, they was on one side, the Philistines was on another side, and Goliath constantly taunted them for 40 days. And then finally David, within those 40 days, came, and this is where he would step in and eventually slew Goliath, right? So let me back at verse 25. And the men of Israel said, have you seen, hold on, where was I? Verse 24. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come. Say that again. What was that, verse 24? 24. Yeah, so when he approached the camp, the children of Israel fled from him. Shabbat Shalom, how y'all doing? All right. The children of Israel fled from him. And so we right here now at 24. That's at verse 24. All right, do we understand what's going on? Okay. Just making sure. Interrupt me if you don't. All right. And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? Now that's important, because David, and we're going to go into the second part of the lesson, which is about moral courage. David is thinking about the best, how to deliver the children of Israel out of this situation. All right, the Philistines are oppressing them, and David is thinking of, the best of how he could, deliver the children of Israel from the oppression. All right, so that goes with moral courage. Physical courage comes with when you have to go into actual combat with Goliath. All right, and when the odds appear to be stacked against him, when it seems like he's not going to win. All right, that's the situation here. Let's keep reading. Verse 27. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab his eldest brother heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, Why comest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart. For thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, What have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul. He sent for him. And David said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, Thou art not able to go against the Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. All right, Saul showing at this point. See, what's key here is to show that the children of Israel is lacking in faith as well. At this point, they see a man size, and it's like they put more trust into the fact that this big man is standing on the other side of them than putting a trust and faith into the Father. All right, but David is thinking, hey, this is the seed that the Lord chose, and I'm willing to step to the plate and deliver us out of this situation. All right, and so it says, verse 33. And Saul said to David, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. So look at David now taking care of the flock, and also when he was keeping his father's sheep, and he took one of the sheep out of the mouth of a bear, right? I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. So again, David is giving an example of how he's already been in a small battle to deliver the sheep. And I mean, this is, he's showing, and you got to understand, David in stature, he is not a big man. He is a small man. So he's not, he's not the size of Goliath or even half his size. And yet, and still, because of his courage, he was able to deliver the sheep out of trouble, slewing both a bear and a lion. All right, that's enormous courage, being brave in that situation. So verse 36, thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. All right. So he's showing that he understands that the Father is backing him. All right. These Saul and the rest of the men are not even considering the fact that they have the Father. Only David is considering that. Everything okay? Everything okay? What's going on? Everything all right? Oh, you trying to find the verse? Oh, okay. You found it? Here we are at verse 35. You there? Okay. Better still, we at verse 37. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and Yahuwah be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put an helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. So David, these things that's put on David, this is not actually his, and he haven't really he proved it, mean he haven't really used it to get used to it in battle. So he's got a sword that he's never used in battle. All right. So watch what he does though. Instead of using these swords, watch this. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in the shepherd's bag, which he had even in the scrip. And his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David. And the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of fair countenance. So he don't see a warrior as he's seen before. David looked like a little boy. All right. He don't even look like a man. He don't even look like a man of war. So he just looked like a regular man that walks about every day and not really in a war attire. I think he's like David is wearing the things that Saul put on him, but you know, it's like Goliath can see right through him that he's just a little boy, right? So, and it says, verse 44, and the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistines, thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. Look at David showing courage and having faith, right? This day will Yahuwah deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all the assembly shall know that Yahuwah saveth not with the sword and spear, but the battle is Yahuwah's, and he will give you into our hands. He will give you into our hands. So he understood that Yahuwah was with him, and the battle was his, and they was being oppressed, so Yahuwah was going to defend them and deliver them out of this bondage. All right? And it came to pass, verse 48, and it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran, and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him. So he took his sword, he took Goliath's sword, and slew him. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until thou came to the valley and to the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way of Sharaim, even unto Gath and unto Ekron. So this is David showing he always, see, the key to having courage is our faith in the Father, knowing that he have our backing. All right, without knowing that, we will lack in courage. And see, if you notice, when David was talking to his brethren, and when he was talking to the giant, he was mentioning how the battle is Yahuwah's, and that you know he's gonna do this for the living God of Israel, and saying things like that. So he kept in mind the Father, while the other men never even mentioned the Father. They just was fearing the man that was in front of him. True enough, he was big, but nothing is too big for the Father, especially when he has chosen a seed and decided to give them his laws and make a promise with them that they would never lose a war as long as they be obedient to the Father, right? So that's physical courage, but physical courage. See, the second part of this is moral courage, because the reason David did this, all right, that's the key. Is the reason he did this was for the Father and to deliver his brethren out of oppression, right? So moral courage is when one does the right thing, primarily when the risk or shame or disapproval of others. So when say if, how can we do this? Say if we at school and we have you see a guy about to get jumped, and then you go and tell a teacher he about to get jumped by 5 guys. So you go tell a teacher, she come break it up, she write the 5 guys up. Or later on, these 5 guys come to you and say, well, why did you go tell the teacher? But morally, you stood up even though you could possibly get some danger done to you. So that's what moral courage is about. Go ahead. Really? Yeah. Oh, okay. That's good. See, that's showing an act of courage. So what happened now? So somebody got rolled up yesterday because you told about something that they did something wrong. That's showing the act of courage. They might not like you for that. But guess what? You still did the right thing now. You raised your hand? Or somebody raised their hand? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So that's what moral courage is standing up for something that you believe in, even though, the masses might not like you. You have to be able to still say, no, I'm not going to do that because I've been taught this. Let me go and operate this way. All right. So let's get an example. What are some examples of moral courage? Can anybody name some? Yeah, well, whoever. Can y'all name any? Huh? Moral courage, yes. Y'all know what the word moral mean? Okay. Let's define moral. Let's define what morality is. So let's see, because that might throw some people off. So it's concerned with certain principles. So, like, an example of moral courage would be almsgiving. You see somebody homeless and you want to do, or somebody that's poor, and you give them some food or you give them some money. That's an example of moral courage, because we may see sometimes, and it's crazy because when you see homeless people panhandling and standing on the corner asking for change, some of them be faking. And sometimes because they be faking and people is conscious of that, they'll walk by and they won't necessarily give them no money. But see, you just want to do something good. You go ahead and you give them, you give them some money or some food or whatever. Moral courage would be like helping someone push a car out of a snow pile. Like you see somebody stuck, you on your way to work or you on your way to school, you stop and you give them a helping hand, even though you might be late on your way to school or to work. See, that's where moral courage is, because now you got to deal with your boss or your teachers or your principal, whoever would have something to say about it. You got to deal with them saying, well, why are you late for school? Of course, as an adult, my boss would ask me, well, why are you late for work? And he might try to write you up or dock your pay or whatever the penalty may be. You know what I mean? So moral courage is doing something right, even though you could possibly get hurt about it. You know what I mean? So, like stopping a fight. You know what I mean? Like, if you, like I mentioned earlier, like, at the end of the day, if somebody's getting ready to get jumped and that, the odds are stacked against them, it's 5 against 1, you're going to tell somebody, then, you've done a good thing. Now, the problem is what happens when those people find out you told on them. They'll hold you accountable. They may try to even do something to you, but you still show the act of courage. I don't know if y'all watching these shows, like if you watch, go ahead. Speak up, I can't hear you. Speak up. Okay. Okay. Someone took his watch. Okay. So what was somebody took his watch. Now what happened? Like, you said somebody, he didn't mean to do something. Explain. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. Go ahead. What's the name of the show? Raising Dion. It's on that. I got Netflix. I'm gonna probably have to check that out. All right. So we're gonna get an example out of the scriptures about moral courage. All right. We're gonna talk about the Mashiach and moral courage. Okay. So let's go to Matthew 26 and 37. (26) and verse 37. Leave me here? Okay. All right, Matthew chapter 26 and here, verse 37. Yep, chapter 26 and verse 37. You see that right there? Right there. You see that? Make sure you put your hand on it, okay? Yeah, right there. You got it, Daquan?
Yeah.
All right. Are we all there? Yeah. All right. So Matthew chapter 26 and verse 37. All right. Let me get that. We're going to see how Yeshua HaMashiach, how he dealt in courage at a time where the odds were stacked against him. Let's see. And he took with him Peter and the sons of Zebedee and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then said, so he was sorrowful and very heavy, showing some type of fear. Because sometimes when you have courage and when you show an act of courage, that don't mean that you don't fear. It just means that you're willing to go through with the act, even though you may have some fear. So you have Mashiach that's showing some level of fear because he's in the flesh. Watch this. Then said he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, what, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? So he saith unto Peter, what, can you not watch with me 1 hour? Remember, this is before he's getting ready to get crucified. All right. So now he's, because he's in the flesh, he's starting to have some fear, some doubt, and he's going to the Father, seeing if he don't have, seeing if the Father will not let him go through with it. But of course, he have to fulfill scriptures, as we're gonna see. Verse 40, and he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep. Yeah, no, I'm just starting back over at it. That's all. And he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, what, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again the second time, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. So he's asking again. All right. So verse 43, and he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then cometh he to his disciples and saith unto them, sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doeth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came with him a great multitude, with swords and staves, from the chief priests and elders of the people. So now Judas betrayed him, and they're on his way, on their way to come and get the Mashiach, and to take him to get blamed and falsely accused, so that he could get crucified. Right? Now he that betrayeth him, this is verse 48, y'all. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, whosoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Yeshua and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Yeshua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yeshua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yeshua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. And then said Yeshua unto him, Put up again thy sword into the place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Verse 53. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? So Mashiach is, the way he's showing moral courage here is because what he said, he stopped one of the apostles or one of the disciples at the time from smoting one of the servants of the high priest. All right. Instead of letting him do this, and then see, what you have to understand is it's a bigger picture. He's supposed to fulfill the scriptures, and he is supposed to deliver us from our darkness, from our sin. So instead of calling those 12 legions, now just imagine if he would have called those 12 legions, then we would never be able to be delivered from our sin. So he was our, remember, he's the Lamb of God. He's the Lamb of Elohim. All right. He was the sacrifice, all right, for us to to get salvation and to come back to the Father. All right. Do everybody understand that? Okay. All right. So that's the end. Do we have any questions? All right. So you know what I need. I need my hallelujah. Oh, yeah, 3 of them. I need my hallelujahs. Daquan, this is new to you. But so we usually say hallelujah 3 times. All right. And we shouting it till we trying to blow the roof off. So on the count of 3, just hallelujah. Okay. Okay. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Hallelujah! Yeah, I'm gonna say it with y'all too. All right. On the count of 3, give me 2 more. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Hallelujah! Let's really blow the roof off, y'all. Come on. On the count of 3, I'm gonna say it with you. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Hallelujah! Good job. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.